Hi, this is Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, the President, Founder, and Chief Listening Officer here at our network at USA Global TV and Radio. Thank you so much for your loyalty. Thank you so much to all of our guests, to our team members, to our sponsors, and to all of our elevated listeners. Here at USA Global TV and Radio, we provide world-class education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. We celebrate all of our team members, all of our guests, and all of our sponsors from around the world who come and lead their lives with their hearts to help other people walk into their greatness. If you'd like to be a guest on any of our shows, please go over to our website, usaglobaltv.com, and book your session. Please contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com and subscribe to our channel. Hello and welcome everyone to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is fashion, travel, and fitness. We're going to be talking about how we can feel more confident about our appearance. And our show last week with our guest, Chen, went so well that we've invited her back. She's here again today. So before we bring her out and we start having this conversation, let's bring out the star of our show, DIANN BOEHM, who I'm telling you, with all the things she's going on in her life, what's going on, what she's doing, she always has time for suggestions and ideas to share with me. And I just took her up on another one that she came up with last night, which I'll be sharing shortly. Let's welcome DIANN BOEHM, the queen of networking and helping other people. Hello.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Thank you for the compliment.
Thank you, DIANN. I mean, it's amazing to me how you have so many fabulous ideas. And I see your name. I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to give this some time. I want to look at it because I know it's going to be really valuable.
You're so kind.
As a result of your ideas, we are now coming out with coloring books for our children's book series. In fact, the first drawings are finished. And we also have a new course to help people learn how to be professional broadcasters. Thank you to DIANN BOEHM.
You're so welcome. Well, you create the magic. I just start coming up with ideas.
It's amazing. You're a strategist and a coach yourself, DIANN. So you've done so many things. You're so accomplished in so many areas. And I really value the fact that you always have time for other people and you're always supporting other people and their success instead of just me. You're always about the other person. So let's focus on you right now. Okay. You've won so many awards. You've put out beautiful books. The illustrations are phenomenal. I know you've done some of them yourself, and you've been able to work with your daughter, and you've had a career as a teacher. You've also had a career in being on stage and being in beauty pageants and acting, singing, and yet you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a friend. Tell us where you get all this energy to do all these things that you're doing, because we're talking about confidence today. That's what people want to hear about, confidence. And you are a confident woman who is very accomplished. Tell us more.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, my mama always liked to say when I was born, I didn't cry. I just started singing. So she said I hit a high C, and I've been going ever since. I'm one of these people that I'm like an ever-ready battery. You know, I go to sleep early, get my rest, and then when I wake up, it's like bing, and there's so much that I want to accomplish in the daytime. And I'm always so grateful that my eyes open, because sometimes people aren't blessed enough because it's time for them to go on a new journey. And so I just want to make the very most that I can. And I feel so blessed in the journey of life and to have so many chapters in life that I just want everyone else to love life and to be kind and discover all the beautiful treasures that they have. And maybe they don't know, maybe they're hidden, but if I can help bring them out, then I feel like I put a smile on someone's face and they'll be touching other lives too.
Absolutely beautiful and worthy of applause. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to be getting a little into your type of fashion style, my style, and also our special guest, Chen. Let's welcome Claire. As I mentioned, she was here last week. We had such a great time, didn't we?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited that she's back again. It's so much fun. Girl chat.
Yes, she's an expert when it comes to style, it comes to personal branding. Let's bring her on, and she's in a new venue today. I'm very excited. Welcome. Hello, Claire.
Hello, hello, ladies. Happy Friday. I'm so excited to be here again. And thank you so much. It was such an honor to be your show last week, and I have such a blast. And it's just so great to be on the show and then kind of like, take this conversation and expand a little bit more. And I love you ladies that what you have achieved so far. And it's just such a, like a mentor that I can continue to learn from. So thank you so much for having me.
It's our
My
pleasure.
pleasure.
Our pleasure. And
Look, we sound like twins.
I know.
My pleasure.
Parrots. And Claire, last week you were in pink, and this week you're in blue. Tell us about what you're wearing. I love it.
So I'm wearing blue pretty much head to toe, as you can see from all the little details. So I did mention that I'm very detail orientated. So everything today is like I'm really focusing on the blue. You can see the mannequin I have in the back is blue. I have blue from head to toe, my glasses, my top, and then with the jackets, a little bit like a velvet dark blue. So the reason why I do blue is because one of my personal branding color, my branding's color is blue. And the reason when I actually used blue in the beginning stage when I actually try to brand myself is I really tap into my personalities, which I actually did mention. So if you actually missed out this episode we talked about, I definitely recommend to go back and have a listen. So the reason I really wear blue today is because blue, if you think about the personality of color psychology, blue is really about integrity. It's about honesty. It's about really, being direct. And that is how I am as a person. So I'm someone who's actually very down on my roots, and then I show lots of integrities of the work I do, and that's why blue really represent my personality. So this is why I want people to really remember me as like whenever I wear blue, it really they can link into who I am as a person, as a business owner, as a female founder. So that's what I have blue head to toe.
It looks good on you. How do you feel when you're wearing the blue?
I feel so empowered because it's just the color really aligns with my personality, and I don't really need to fake it to pretend who I am as somebody else. And I think this is why sometimes we get so lost because I don't follow trends. I don't really care about, what is happening in the fashion world. I care about how I'm showing up as myself. And I actually recently shared a post before I can impress others, before I actually try to do the work to serve others, it had to make sense to me. So it really starts from, again, my color, my course, and how is it aligning with me. So that's why I lost the thing that I no longer like chasing trend. I'm not in my early 20s. I'm in my 40s that I care about how I show up. The color really needs to align with me. So I don't go for something that's like crazy fashions. It's really had to go down to the deep core. And that's why it is so powerful when you know what color works for you. It's a color that you're gonna wear all the time, continuously. And all you have to do is that you stick to that core color. And all you have to do is just like whenever season changes, when the year comes back, you still have that core color that you wear. And all you have to do is just, you can play with accessories, you can play with textures to really bring your personality out. So that is why I wear this color a lot on my live, whenever I show up on camera, and that's it.
Fantastic. Claire, you just mentioned something that I think is becoming more and more of a need for people. People are getting out there. People are on Zoom, they're on StreamYard, they're on social media, and how we show up can really set the tone for what people can expect and whether or not people want to buy into our brand. So how do you work with people to determine what is their color, what is their style?
I love that question. So I always say that as a business owner, as a female founders, you have to really go to the nitty gritty to really understand again who you are. And lots of time women are so afraid and intimidated about answering those questions. So I always have a personal assessments when I work with people who have a brand or a personal brand or their own product brands. But the process is really similar. Is first you have to understand who you are. There are questions sometimes is a little bit difficult because really going down to the deep core. And I believe that when you're building either a personal brand, you have to really go through, your past experience. What is something that, it really did align with you? So what is something that did not align with you? How can we really learn on like being unattached? And then from there, once you have a very clear visions and the strategy, it makes it so much easier for you to show up. And that's what I think. It's like a deep thing to go into a little bit spiritual in a way, but really understand who you are and how you show up and go into all the psychology patterns. And that's how I usually work with clients, that I don't want to change you for something you're not. If I do, then I'm just basically it's easy. And that's why for me, it's very different the way how I work with my clients. I don't want to take you out and then revamping your wardrobe. I have to tell you what you have to wear, because you are you. You have your own identity. Once your identities align with your personality, it makes it so much easier for you to show up for your business. It makes it easier for you to like get on live, networking and then talk to people, because you don't feel like you're obligated. And this is very important of why when I work with my clients, I really get into that question that they are so unwilling to answer. But once you are clear, it makes it so much easier. So that's how my process.
Fabulous process. I like that you stick with your identity. That's so important.
I do too. DIANN, I was wondering how you would describe your style.
It depends, when it's about work, then it's going to have more professional look to it. But if I'm going out to just go out and have fun for the evening, I might have that gypsy look. I just love the gypsy look. So,
now, can you describe that? What was that? Long flowing? What is that?
Flowing, lots of colors. If it's springtime, it might be off the shoulder, and I love the gypsy look. There's just so much personality to the gypsy look, and it's so opposite from your professional look. And also what you said about color is so important. If I'm going to be on stage speaking to someone, I might wear purple or I might wear red, depending on the mood. I'll generally come to a conference and get a feel for everyone, and then I'll decide what it's going to be. But I won't wear gypsy.
I love that. And DIANN, you're a big fan of hats as well.
Oh, I absolutely love hats. To me, hats just finish everything off. And I noticed you have a brooch on, and I love brooches as well. So
I do too. I love it because you can change the look of something with your accessories. Claire, can you speak to that as well?
Absolutely. Ashley, I love accessories. I love hats. Ashley, I love a lot of things. I love everything you guys have mentioned, and I can tell that how passionate you ladies are. But I would say accessories is like one of the biggest things. So let's go back to using the example of Dr. Jacalyn. She loves black because it owns power. And it's a color that's really dominant. And you think about it, it's like when women wear black, it's very powerful. But you can actually notice her, she wears a lot of accessories. So I'm actually going to show you some little example of like how to play with accessories. Okay, so I'm actually going to use my example from the back of my mannequins. So I always say that, for example, this is just I love to play accessory because accessory plays such a big role. Brooch, belt, you can do layering with necklace, and then sometimes it's that you can go for something so simple, plain blazer, which I wore last week, but you can just wear like a statement necklace. That's it. If you are not somebody who like to do lots of layering, a piece of easy necklace is always great. And I always say that, learn how to jump outside the box. For example, I like to always do, for example, like layering. I'll just do some layerings, right? So you have a simple necklace. understand the style of your necklace is very important. You know, you can do a little bit just like a chain, simple, very easy, and then it can just like keep it simple. You can also learn how to layer it, right? So if you're someone who wears a lot of black, then learn to play with texture, which I actually did mention last week. Learn to play texture this way. It's just like you layer with something simple, but right away you have like different layer of a necklace. That's another way to really learn how to play with your little detail, layering necklace. And then of course, I love brooch. I always like to go vintage shops and then get some little, you know, like brooch. Can be a simple stuff that you don't use. And then, but once you put a little brooch, it really makes it stand out. And that's why I think accessory is so big these days. You can go through your wardrobe on the stuff that you haven't worn, take them out, and then just buy little accessories. It can be earrings, you know, it can be necklace, it can be a chunk necklace, whatever it is. And accessorize with scarf, for example, or add a hat, and you're done. And then that makes a statement. So I just think that the accessory just is such a powerful tool that you don't have to buy more clothes. You just invest little accessory and go to vintage shop, go to thrift store. You can find stuff that is so vintage that is probably you don't see in the massive market, but that's a piece that you can wear years after years.
Absolutely. Love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I have a question since we're talking about hats, and I think I mentioned this, DIANN, on another show. I knew of a woman who was in real estate, and she really branded herself by always wearing a hat. People called her the Hat Lady, and so she stood out from other realtors. Is it a good idea to do that type of branding? I think it's just from another perspective, it puts a lot of pressure on you that you always have to show up as that persona. But what are your thoughts, Claire? And then we'll go over to DIANN.
I love it. I mean, of course, the hats is really in trend right now. If you see on social media, it's lots of social media managers or even people who do, I would say, marketer, whatever that they're on the digital space. You see a lot of people wear hats. Obviously, it's a way to really get the attention because hat is a statement. They can do something so simple. Even they do live or they do stories recording on Instagrams. They have a hat. So it's a signature piece that people really remember who you are. So every time if you say something, you wear hats, it's grab the attention. It's really catching. And the whole point is like they show up on the media of a specific way of how they would like to be projected. Then of course in real estate it's a little bit different because most of the time people think about real estate. It's like, you know, it's professional and it's you're selling $1 million house. People think about real estate agents for women's men, they wear suits, and then maybe vice versa, it's more like classes and not so much women will actually wear hats. So I think she did a very good spin that obviously she understands that the target, what the customer demographic that she wants to catch to, and then she used a little accessory as a fashion accessory to really bring her out whenever she go on live and that. So in a way, it does make her to stand out from the rest of the agents that who was in the real estate market, because most of the time we have a persona or projection how we think about it. So when you think about lawyer, when you think about accountant, we have a specific projection of how we think that person is because of the profession. But if someone do a little bit spin around, right? You never think about accountant who wear colorful clothes, wear bright lipstick. But what if an accountant actually does that? Wouldn't that stick to your mind? Like, oh my God, I always think accountant, you know, she's already like plain, very boring. So she does a lot of math. She wears like dark clothes. But if someone who actually do the opposite, would that actually memorize in your heads? It's a yes. What do you think? It's a yes or no. I would say for me, it's yes. And then it's a way of creating impression. So I think it's in the way it's really smart. Then of course, you can always add a little bit personality to it. Maybe someday you really don't want to wear a hat, and that's okay. You can add a different spin to it. So it also shows a different side of personality to let your audience who you are, because at the end of the day, we're human. You do want to add a little bit twist of your side, right? So that's my take on that one.
I appreciate that. That's great. What about you, DIANN? What do you think?
You know, I wish I could make everyone feel comfortable in hats. When I was growing up, Mama and all her friends wore hats with her, and it wasn't just to church. It was maybe even to the grocery store, hats and gloves to the baseball game, right? In today's world, people go, "Oh, I wish I could wear a hat. You wear it so well, you know." And I'm like, I just take the hat off and I put on them, and I'm like, "Look, you look fabulous!" And bring out a makeup mirror. And it's just about confidence. I love, Dr. Jacalyn, what you said about accessories. And what a hat, you could just start with one simple hat. I'd love to know what y'all think. And maybe you have a scarf that you wrap around it, gives it one look. Or brooches, a brooch that you could put on it to give it another look. So you don't have to have a million hats. You could have a hat you could play around with. What do y'all think?
I agree. I love that idea. I think that it changes it up. In fact, one of the handbag manufacturers, big name that's well known, they started selling things that you could put onto the bag, whether it's keychains or scarves or whatever, to change up the look. So I absolutely love that. I think it's great. What are your thoughts, Claire?
I love the idea when you mentioned about, having several hats. You don't have to have like 100 pieces of hats hanging around, because realistic, unless you're celebrities and you work in media, you have to change it up constantly. But let's say a real women's 10 hats to 20 hats, it's quite a bit, right? Just think, maybe we'll talk about shoes later, right? How many pair of shoes do you own? But think about for hats, you can have some very signature hats. I do have hats, but obviously I don't have it, which we can actually take it to the next series. The hats, you can buy some really signature hats. And then the perfect way of what Diane just said, scarves. Oh my God, like scarf is just such another thing that you can add to the hats to decorate the hats. And the last thing is really just think about outside the box. You again don't have to have tons of scarves. You can go for like little things that you can make the hat very fancy, and even I think sometimes I literally just have an idea that came out when I used to work in school, or we'll do art craft, right? Dollar stores, and then you have some really nice, interesting patterns or florals. You can make it and then sew them and then into just a small little pieces of patch, and then attach to it the hat, and then wrap around, and then use a little like a hair clicks or just a little brooch to it, and that's it. It literally is another look, another styles. And a lot of people always think, oh, how can I change it up? There's so many different creative ways that you can really play it up. All you have to do is just like how to find sources, and then look at what you have first, and then go out and then shop. And then that's the way I would actually, like have people who try it on. And I actually want to focus on one point. Diane's, when you say that your friends always say, oh my God, you look so good on hats. Remember what last week we talked about? You have to try it. If you don't try, you never know. And again, what's the worst? You try a hat that doesn't look good, take it off, try a different hat. You eventually will find something that made you feel very comfortable and confident. The whole point is like, don't be afraid of trying.
I love it.
Yeah, I love that too. That's great direction. And I want to go back to something that you said a little bit earlier, Claire, when you were mentioning about real estate and I mentioned about real estate. I think this is just my opinion. And I was a real estate agent for a short time, by the way. I had one deal, a lease, and I'm like, why am I sitting this open house without any heat, wearing high heels with a freezing floor? No. Anyway, my point is I have a lot of respect for real estate agents. It's a very hard job. If I'm buying a home, it's one of the biggest decisions that I'm going to be making in my life. And the realtor shows up dressed like they're going to a ball game, or they're going to the gym, or they're just got out of bed. I don't think I'm going to be working with that person, because that doesn't feel like a good connection for me. And I think something else, this has to do with feeling more confident, is the way that not only we show up, but how does our car look? Is the inside of our car filled with trash and food wrappers because if you are in a business where somebody has to get in your car, that makes a big difference. And that leaves an impression. So I think the way that we show up, what we're wearing and how we carry ourselves, to your point, Claire, and yours, Diane, you don't have to have a zillion things, but you have to have one or two or three nice things that are professional that you can change up with accessories, is my thought.
I love it. Agree. 100%.
So I want to talk a little bit about, I just mentioned about this new course about the art of being a professional interviewer. And so all of us are involved with being out in the public domain. And to some people, you know, they may tune in on a regular basis. Other people are just learning about us. But Claire, you have been talking about how to show up when you're on social media. What are some of the things that you've seen that you think to yourself, oh, it's not going too well for this person? What are some things that you've seen that you can just bring to light to help people realize that maybe there's another way?
I love this question, and I'm actually gonna use this question to type into what you actually just mentioned, about dress for your professions. So of course, it's not saying that sometimes we judge people, but before we actually know the person, we do make a first impression. So I'll use myself as an example. If today I'm coming here to talk about, confidence, a little bit of the style, and then talk about branding, but I'm coming as like wearing pajama, loungewear, I got no makeup on, and it's not about the superficial things, but how would you see me? It's a convincing. I want to be my best self, but you also have to distinguish the image that you're trying to portray. So if you are trying to sell $1 million house, then how do you want to project that image for your client to gain that credibility, gain that trust? So obviously it's you want to project certain way and looking professionals, not saying that you have to go by head to toe like designer brands, but the way is like how do you carry yourself in front of your audience? So that again go back into over the past several years. I have seen, like especially during COVID, a lot of people really ship online. But as now we're going back to normalcy, how do you want to continue to thrive on social media or even in the media platforms? What is your goal? So of course, I'll use it as an example. If you're a mother who is always like at home and you have a hobbies and you really understand the core of your audience, mothers, who have few babies, and then your passion is really helping a mother to make money. So you're very casual. You always show up that's okay, carrying the baby, dressing pajamas or loungewear because that is your lifestyle. So that is the goal that you want to really show the real of yourself or being authentic. But you have to think about if you want to portray bigger picture as a woman in business, as a CEO, as a female founders, who are you trying to target to? Who are you trying to speak to? What is your image that you're trying to show? Just for example, if I go for a job interview, right? I'm not going for constructions. I'm going for something, let's say applying for a fashion brand as a consultant. I have to think about who I want them to perceive me as and how do I want to show up as. What is the impression I need to make before I can put my feet in there? So vice versa, it's the same thing. I would not wear a swimming suit. I would not wear jumpers or wear a flip-flop and go for an interview. And that's the same thing of how you can take the real life situation applied to online. And that is a thing that really I've learned and I've seen a lot. Sometimes people just think, I'm online. I want to be authentic. I want to show everything. But what is the limit of showing too much and showing just enough that you still keep the impression people think that you are very professional, you show the credibility, and I really like you, that I want to do business with you. There's a differences. So my final words, before you show up, guys, trying to be more strategic, be more intention. Think about that you're not only eventually only talking to yourself, you're holding a phone, you're talking to probably million people on the other side. Try to project your audience, how they want you to how do you want to be portrayed, how do you want to be projected as, and then from there it makes it easier for you to think, okay, it is part of my job, it is part of my profession, so I need to show up that certain ways, and this is just a way of like making you feel still confident, not trying to be someone else, but there's a different bottom line of like try not to confuse. I think that is my final take that I want to share, and I hope that kind of makes sense.
Yes, absolutely does. Thank you.
Yeah.
DIANN, what are your thoughts?
You have so many words of wisdom. I just want to have a book of quotes from you. But you're absolutely right. Again, it's to make sure you're dressed for the part, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to add something which might be a little outside of the box. But I just think it's also important how we show up, not just at the office. I go and do this workout every day, and it's called Solid Core, not a paid spokesperson. But I always make sure that I've showered before I go, because have you ever been next to somebody at the gym who clearly has not taken a shower? And you remember that person, like, ooh, stinky person, right? So, but and other people notice that, when I was on the machine one day, a person came in late and they reeked of marijuana. And so the whole time I was doing the class, I had to smell that. And I thought, I don't know if they realize how they're showing up, but now I remember this person. And it's not about labeling people, but it's the impression that you're putting out there. People are watching, people are observing. So even though you think that nobody is, and we're not going to get stuck in worrying about what people think about us, it is about making a good impression, because you are your own brand, whatever that brand is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Claire, I would love to have you show us two things that are really standing out to me over there: the animal pattern and the black and white.
I know, I've been dying to see the black and white.
Okay, so I love, another thing about me is I love prints. I love animal prints. Okay, so I'll show you. So I love animal prints because it just always, it's classics. Okay, one thing that I do think that every woman should also try to just like play around with animal prints. And I did mention that I love blazers. I have tons of blazer. I invest in blazer because it's chic, it's modern, it's professionals. And I always invest like a good blazers. It can be vintage, any type of styles. But the thing is, because I like animal print, is it goes with everything. If you want to be simple, you can wear simple black, right? And then just do animal print. So literally just do a quick example. I have this ones, right? So this one's obviously you can see leopards. I love leopards. These are like classics. Think about that back in the day when Dolce & Gabbana first came out with animal prints. And anyone would be like, oh my God, this is so bold. It doesn't always, that animal print can be simple, classics. And it's a fashion statement. It's a style that's always going to be in trend. And you can literally think about that. I have this one in black, and I just do keep it simple. Black and white. It's always classics. And you can literally do two ways. When we talked about earlier, do a little brooch, right? Or add in a little bit of accessory, which we'll do it right away. You can add some easy, simple statements, which I have it here, which is play a little bit fun. So I remember I talked about color poppings. You can do contrast, right? Just do like this, black and white, and you do a little bit colors. This is obviously it's like a one next step up, but you can just keep it really simple. And then same things, we'll do the black, and then we can just think about it again. This is really classic. It's nothing pretentious, but it just drop some things. That's it. That's just another thing that can be really classic, simple. We do black and black, but the things I talk about texture, I talk about textile. When you go out and shop, always try to find something that is very unique. It doesn't have to cost to break your bank, right? So this one is just simple because again, it has textures. You can see there's velvets, okay? And then there's animal prints. I like the simple, classic, very nice fitted cuts, blazer, lapel style. And this is just like, you can just wear jeans, you can wear just like pants, whatever you want. And then that's it. This can be a very simple, classic, professional look. You don't have to go head to toe, think about, oh my God, how do I have to dress? What do I have to wear? This can be just simple. So this is just another way to really learn how to play stuff that is easy, but learn to, have utilize and be a bit playful and fun when you actually select some little key pieces. At least key pieces actually going to always be in trend. The fact is all these pieces, I have it for such a long time, more than 10, 15 years. I do keep them really well because I know these are the investment pieces, and you're gonna use that over and over again. They're not going to be out of trend. So that's just a little another tip that I want to show you. So good eyes, Dr. Jacalyn.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And you've mentioned the word trend a few times. And we actually had one of our team members, Dr. Madeline Chen. She's talked about how people get caught up in trends, and that can be a lot of pressure when you're trying to keep up with what's in the magazines or what you see on television, and I love the idea of just going out and doing your own thing and following what it is that you feel comfortable with in your own skin.
Yes, I always say that's the core. And that goes back to our initial conversation. Women in your 40s, I would say, and above, or even women in the mid 30s, it's not the same as like when we were in your 20s, right? I used to be like that too, like in my 20s, and then I'm like, oh my God, trends. And then I always feel like I need to buy something new. I used to have an obsession of like, I need to get something new every time. But again, as you get mature, you get more wisdom, your beauty grows differently. And it just, you don't always have to go buy and buy and buy. It's all about how to be strategically of showing up. And the trend that is going to come and goes. And I always like to use it, the classic designer, as Ethan Laurent used to say, trend come and goes, but style stays, right? Chanel say that as well. A lot of designers use that. So if you look at historical, lots of designers that, yes, they do come out with new style, come out with new collection, but there's always a signature style that they really keep the essence. So same thing, I always say that you don't have to go through whatever is happening in the trend, because trend just come and go. And then you look at after years, fashions just keep staying the same. But if you have your style, the essence, that is really what people memorize who you are. And the end of the day is also people want to know who you are as a person. And that's what is really important, is like, don't focus so much on what's happening on trends, because we also get caught up with like what's happening. But sometimes it's just like step back. First, measure who you are. How do you want to be seen? What are something that is actually aligning with you? And I always say, whatever that doesn't align with you, it's not helping you to move forward to your next career goal, then time to pause and then detox and then look at how you want to show up. This is a way to really help you to get into the next goal. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, really good points.
Absolutely. I love you said this week as well as last week. And then we detox.
I like it.
You might explain to those what you mean by detox, because I just love that phrase for clothing.
Thank you. I think detox is such important, because detox, it's a way to like not detox just it's way to internal externally, because every time we do need to detox, just like you go to the gym. And at the beginning of the year, you have to go detox because you probably have eaten a lot, you drank a lot over Christmas, and we all happen to make that resolution. Oh my God, I need to go to gyms, right? So I detox, but after is that you stop after a couple of months. So when I say detoxing, it's like do a detox as for yourself clean. That can come to, starting with the clothing you wear, because every day we put clothes on. You wake up, you put clothes on. You have to put yourself out there, unless you're not going to stay in bed for 24/7, right? You have to find a way to find motivation. So when I say it's like, look at internals and external. What are you putting on right now? Is it representing who you are? How can you detoxing by things that no longer serve you, which I actually also mentioned this recently on my post. You have to think about the fact is, women, we get so attached to what we own. Little bags, little things, accessories or clothing that we bought for 20 years ago. And I was like that too. I just like, oh my God, I own it. I don't want to let it go. But sometimes it's part of like letting it go. It's letting it go, detoxing, saying goodbye, especially after you have not worn for more than a couple of years. Your life, you probably only worn for once out of the whole entire season, but you know that you keep a space, restore it, but you probably have forgotten because life goes on. Then this is time to detox. It's like get rid of stuff that you no longer want, no longer serve you. Once you let it go, you are cleaning up yourself. You have a better idea of who you are as a person, and visually, it's much more pleasing. So that is a way how I wake up with myself every day. It's like, okay, I know who I am, how I want to show up. There's certain style that I want to give out. And of course, as I get older, I do tweak a little bit, but it's really just how I am. And I don't need to actually change it over and over again. That's why when I say detox means, get rid of the stuff that you don't want, from a piece of the clothes, wardrobe, shoes. If this you have not touched for a long time, I'm talking about you only worn them for probably like 2 times out the whole entire years. think about the fact is how much you actually used it, and then do the math and then calculate, and maybe it's just time to let it go. So that's my little methods of cleanings and detoxings.
Yeah, that's brilliant. It's so important. And I love the fact that you're all about sustainable fashion, also about secondhand stores, vintage stores, because it is a way to give new life to something that's brought joy or maybe didn't fit anymore, whatever the case is, and somebody else can enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of someone else enjoying it, I do remember how I used to hang on because I thought, oh, I'm going to get skinny and be able to wear those again. But that was like 7th grade. It's just, I love those bell bottoms, right?
I know. And what about
Thank
people with
goodness
the
it
ripped
came back.
t-shirts
Yeah.
and
So,
ripped? Yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of like, and I've had some tank tops like that I've worn for probably 15 years to the gym. It's like, no, it's time to go. Like, it's just
it's
crazy.
done its job.
Yeah, it serves its purpose. So we have your links here in the comments, but for people who can't reach them. Yeah, you can't reach it. You can't read them. What is the best way for people to connect with you, and what are the services that you'll offer them?
Perfect. So they can actually find me on LinkedIn as Claire Chen. I'm also very active on Instagram. You can find me as Claire Brand Stylist. That's my handle. And if you would like to find out more about what I could do, so you can actually get in touch with me for any personal branding, image consulting, color confidence, you can actually contact me directly. I also have a branding agency that we help female founders, especially that they are struggle to gain clarity. They own a product. They want to take their branding to the next level digitally. The agency is called Digital Bosses, and it's actually founded with my business partner, Joseph Rubelli. So we really are passionate about helping female founders to take their brand to the next level. And of course, we do have a podcast that we launch bi-weekly every Monday. So we talk about entrepreneurship, mindsets, digital brandings, and of course, content strategy, and so much more. And the whole purpose is I want to really help female founders who are there to get more visibility, and of course, getting more how to be really take your business to the next level. So I would love to hear from you. And we are also doing like on a regular basis, interviewing guests. And if you'd like to be on the show, you can also reach out to me, and we can see how we can collaborate and take it to the next level together. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Please do reach out to Claire, and please do reach out to DIANN. DIANN, what are some of the services and value that you provide, and how can people reach you?
Sure. The best way to reach me is my website, DIANNFLOYD.com, DIANNFLOYD.BOEHM.com. I'm on the usual, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, etc. When you go to my website, you can keep up with me with the newsletter. I love hearing from people and their ideas. Besides having my children's books, I love to be a speaker at conferences, come to schools, inspire teachers, because what they do is so amazing and so important for our future leaders of America and other countries as well, because I do go to other countries. And I just love being with people. So reach out to me and I'll be there.
Thank you so much, DIANN. I appreciate it. And I wish you both a wonderful day and weekend, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
And remember to show kindness, because I think that's
yes.
so important when DIANN say that. So always, I think it's important. Spread out kindness everywhere you go, online and offline.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Amen to that. All right, DIANN and Claire, thank you so much for being here today. And I'll
Take
see you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. And thank you to each and every one of you who are watching our shows. I saw today, I think we're over 75,000 views in the last 28 days. So on Sunday it was 57. So we really appreciate it. Glad that you're out there and finding value education, inspiration, hope, and entertainment. I just wanted to share one thing. We have a new course, which is the art of being a professional interviewer. Thank you to the lovely DIANN FLOYD BOEHM for brainstorming this fabulous, manifesting, I should say, this fabulous idea. So if you are a podcaster or a TV or radio show host, if you're somebody who's in the public domain and you are interviewing people, how can you ramp up your game? What can you learn to do that you might not be doing now so that you don't get left behind with more and more people, millions of podcasts out there? This course is available live. You can take it live with me, or you can take it at your leisure. And the fascinating thing is that we will have expertise and experience from world-renowned broadcasters about what it is that they do to show up at the highest level. So that will be part of this course as well. You can go over to Eventbrite and just put in my name, Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, or the art of being a professional interviewer to join us. If you can't find the link, please do reach out. Go over to usaglobaltv.com. The course will be listed there this weekend. Thank you again for being here. We will be back very shortly in the next 15 minutes with Dr. Madeline Chen and her Talking Heads episode. We'll see you then. Thanks again. Bye.